when we are teaching college students, the problem is that information system is really an applied discipline, and it's full of abstract concepts. And the problem is that we have to teach them to the students, and for them to understand the concepts, most of the time they cannot experiment them. So we have a disconnect between what we tell them and what they can experience in their own lives. And so that was one of our starting points. The other starting point was the user training, where users, when they have to follow a training, most of the time it's tutorials or screen captures or video tutorials and things like that. And it's really boring, and it's really hard to understand and to grasp what is happening in the training. And for this reason, we started to use games, because games allow us to give a goal to the players and to have them really engage themselves in the activity. And in order to create these games, we use a simulation environment. What's interesting in simulation is that you have a model of reality that you control, and where you can put the learner in the context to have them apply their skill in a realistic fashion, but within a controlled environment. So that's what we do, and that's the way we try to revisit the business training.
So in order to do that, we developed, in partnership with Camp to Camp, a big integrator in Switzerland, a series of serious games to teach ERP processes and all this boring MIS stuff. So basically you have now 3 series of games: Mano, Solo, and Largo. The Mano game is an introductory game, and the goal of the Mano game is to teach the students how to process simple business processes. So they have to purchase the raw material, they have to produce. Here we do coffee pods, and then they have to sell the coffee pods they have produced back to the customer. We do that in classroom. We have developed kits to play with them. And the goal of this game is to be able to play without information systems. So they have just basically paper information systems to do that. And then they experiment how it is difficult to keep track of everything that they need to run the processes. And second, how it is difficult to organize the activities between them, because at this time they didn't have that process, business process and so on. So it's really an experience to say, okay, it's really hard to be able to run a company. Then after that, we have the second game, the solo game. The solo game is a game where they discover Odoo and they learn how to interact with Odoo. But we didn't want it to have a boring click and follow like most of the education on this software. So we use the Odoo bot, and we bring the students in a loop with the bot. So they have to configure the master data of the company, so the materials, suppliers, and so on. They do one whole process. And after that, in the second step, they are confronted with coworker, also bots. They ask them to run simple tasks. So can you lower the price of this product? Can you give me the order number of that one? Can you create a new SO? And so on and so on. And then after that, they manage to understand how Odoo is working, and they have some basic knowledge of using the tool to run their business. After that, we have a third game, Largo game. The Largo game is a simulation of a real company situation where we have many suppliers, many customers, and they have to procure, produce, and sell their product. We developed the simulator, so we are able to automate a lot of tasks in the process, so they can really concentrate on managing the company. They play in teams of 4 to 6 people. It's a competition. Every company is competing against the other companies. It's, of course, all based on Odoo. And to add a little pressure, we constrain the time, so 1 day is 1 minute in our system. So when you have to wait 2 days to receive the material, it's basically 2 minutes. During this game, what is really funny when we do it, the students are managing a company. They are not in a classroom. They are not learning to use an ERP and whatever. They are just running the company. They do their work, then analysis, and so on and so forth. And we also use Tableau desktop on Tableau server to make the BI stuff. Probably we could skip to Odoo 16 next year, but at the time we also have that. So how do we use all these games?
So we have these 3 different games, and first we will go back to the starting point. So in 2014, I guess, or before 2012, we were using a standard approach to teaching IS in college, which was to use a book called The Management Information Systems by Loudon and Loudon, so most educators know it. Actually, the problem was that the students we had, the feedback we had was that it was too much abstraction, only concepts, not a real, actually, and the case studies even were a bit so-so because they were not really on point regarding the concepts because they came from reality and the concept come from the theory, and so it's hard to make them together. And so the students really they didn't have great feedback for our class. We didn't see really them having clear learning outcomes, so we tried to change it. So now we have a new approach in which we really try to show them how much information system critical are. So the role they have in a company and the concrete way they manifest themselves. So this is an applied discipline where we use management, technology, and organization. So we have to show them aspects of these 3 elements. And our goal was to increase the relevance of the class, to have them implement and experiment real business information systems, and understand the way these systems are linked to the management challenges. Because we have management students, and we want them to understand the management problems, not the technological issues or infrastructure issues. So we want them to learn how to work with the tool, to put them into context, and to have them receive feedback on what they do in the class. So we can have listen a testimonial from a student who followed one of these classes and see what she thinks of the class. There's no sound for this one.
Sound was there. It's no more there, but you have the undertitle. It was working before.
During the sound check, we had it.
De savoir comment est-ce qu'on pouvait se démarquer par rapport à toutes les autres compagnies de tarification qu'il y avait à côté de nous dans la vente de ce café et comment on pouvait optimiser nos stratégies de vente, de production et d'organisation en général de l'entreprise. Alors, c'est vrai que le premier jeu, il est intéressant parce qu'on ne se rend pas compte souvent à quel point les processus deviennent compliqués dans une entreprise. Et du coup, avec ce premier jeu, on a pu vite voir qu'on était rapidement défait sans l'informatisation. Et puis, d'après le jeu individuel, c'était important pour se familiariser avec la plateforme. Et comme on introduit le Largo, c'est bien aussi parce que comme on introduit étape par étape, on a le temps de digérer chaque étape. Et ça, parce que si on nous lançait dans le jeu tout en premier, je pense qu'on aurait paniqué, on aurait eu tendance à plus vite se décourager. Mais là, vraiment, c'était une belle progression en étapes qui nous permet de bien assimiler chaque chose en son temps, quoi. Ce cours se distingue des autres cours parce qu'on a le résultat concret de ce qu'on fait en face de nous. Quand on est en comptabilité, on voit l'argent augmenter dans le compte, entre guillemets, en live. Et quand ceux qui sont en vente, ils voient les stocks diminuer. La production, ils voient tout son effet. Et du coup, c'est très satisfaisant quand on fait des études qui sont normalement où on ne voit jamais le résultat de ce qu'on fait. Quand on fait des exercices et c'est tout, là, il y a un aspect qui est beaucoup plus motivant de voir le résultat de son travail, de voir que son raisonnement fonctionne au final.
So, in her testimonial, she mentions the 3 types of games, and you see that she focuses on the management outcome of using the game. She's not talking about the Odoo screens, or she doesn't even mention Odoo, actually. She talks about the way it helps her to learn and to perform in the game, which is managing the coffee company. So these 3 games, they have a logical progression. So the first one, the Mano, is why we need an information system. It's to keep track of this complicated process and to have a way of producing indicators for the business. The second game, the solo game, aims... Yes, so there are a lot of animation, actually, yeah. answers the question, what is an integrated information system? So that's the first time they use Odoo. It's with the chatbot. They have to configure the software and then use it to answer their colleagues' requests. And the third game is the Largo game. It's how do we run a business using an ERP? And we use these 3 games in different ways, depending on the learning outcomes we want to reach, or depending on the profile of the students, or depending on other factors such as the way the class is organized along the semester. So these 3 games, we'll see now 3 examples of different semesters with the game. So first one is a class for a Bachelor of Science in Management. And the course is called Introduction to Management Information Systems. And our objective is that the students appreciate IS as a part of a modern business, know how to identify key business needs, and to understand the strategy, planning, and implementation of an information system. So this last point, it's more like a sensibilization for them because they are not it's more awareness than really be able to create an IS strategy, of course. And so in this game, we start with the Mano game. So we actually are doing this right now. 3 weeks ago, we took the students, we brought them the little plastic kits you saw, and they had to play with the paper capsules and keep track of the information to understand how complicated a simple business can be and keeping track of the informations. And this is really the awareness phase. And then, based on this first experience, we can introduce all the concept about information systems, organizations, how to model a business process, so they learn how to make BPMN models. Then we move to the solo game, where we teach them that we can use information systems to integrate different processes. For instance, that a customer order can trigger resupply from the suppliers, this kind of concepts. And this allows us to help them discover Odoo. And in the following part of the class, we will teach them about business intelligence and management in the theoretical classes. And they have to apply this concept with the Largo game, so playing the simulation in teams. And at the end of the semester, there is a competition which is partly taken into account in the final grade for them to test their skills. So this is the introductory class. These are second-year students, so they don't have a lot of business background at this time. The next example is called a capstone course. So it's a course that is elective, taken in the last year of the Bachelor of Science, also in management. So now they have to integrate all the knowledge they have acquired during the first years. And this course is actually taught over 1 week. So there is 1 week of intense training, and then there's a final competition like 2 months afterwards. And in this week, they will discover the first classes very fast. So the Mano and solo games will be done in the first day. And also in the first day, they will discover the Largo game, which is the big competition. And then they have the whole week to work on their business strategies. So it's really about them tweaking their strategy to be the best performers in the game. And they use Tableau for dashboards and business intelligence extensively in this class, in complement with Odoo. And the goal of this class is to have them perform well in the final, but also to have them reflect on what they did by submitting a report that synthesizes all they learned during the class. Final example. Sorry, I have to go. There's a testimonial for this one.
Directement. Voilà, la simulation, première simulation. On ne savait pas quoi faire, mais on l'avait faite. Et tous les jours, on apprenait quelque chose de nouveau, mais il n'y avait aucun moment dans ce cours où j'ai senti que je suis en train de perdre mon temps, ou bien ça c'est quelque chose que je sais déjà. Ça rend les journées tellement courtes. Pas courtes en termes de temps, mais elles passent vite. Et je suis là, je suis dans ma place, et je suis complètement consciente du fait que je ne sais pas c'est très intéressant quand l'étudiant lui-même sait que tout ce qu'il a en face de lui, c'est juste de l'apprentissage et ce n'est pas du blabla, parce que malheureusement, il y a beaucoup de cours qui comportent cet élément blabla.
So you see, it's a class where really they have to practice what we teach them. A last example, here it's a course in class in decision support systems. And here, Cedric uses the Largo game at the beginning for them to understand why you need to have key indicators, why do we use dashboards, and the game is actually the way we generate the data for them to then build a decision support system. So we'll skip to the do's and don'ts section, and you can start.
So when we started by designing this game, the problem often with serious game in higher education is that, okay, it's fun, but is there really an impact on the students afterwards? So as we told, we started in 2012 just with normal MIS courses. Then we made a small incursion with SAP. They also have some games. But okay, it doesn't really fit, and it was very difficult for the students. Okay, you see today the presentation to come into SAP, and there was a lot of stuff that we are not happy with. So we started to make a first game where they have to sell teddy bears online with the Odoo cloud, and then we developed all the games, and now we are developing a new game based on service. There will be a talk in 1 hour after that. So the key points is verisimilarity. The concept of verisimilarity is to be able to bring some sort of realism, but enough simplification that they can cope with the information that they give. So we started with just basically post-it. It was somehow fail. Then we go full realistic documents generated by Odoo. It was also quite a fail. And now we have some very similar. So we just keep the main information that's needed for the task, and so it's almost, it looks almost like a real document, and so they can make the connection and use the document. The second one is the immersion. So how you bring the students in the game. So we started the first game by creating greeting cards with a quarter of sheet of paper and a small sticker on it. Okay, it was quite difficult to make the link with the final product. And now, as you can see, we use some coffee beans and some cups and so on to make the production steps. Feedback loop, as the students say in the video, it's very important the students get the feedback on what they do. So when we use the Odoo clouds for setup, they do everything, and at the end you can say, okay, sorry, that's false, okay, it's almost good. Now, with the chatbots, we can give the feedback instantly. So they change the price, and they direct get the feedback, okay, that's right. They create a sales order, okay, the sales order is good, and so on. Next step is the transfer from the knowledge, what they learn in class, and how they use this information in the game. Example with cost analysis, okay? They learn how to calculate COGS and so on, so they can directly see, okay, for my business, now I see the link, and I can apply it in real life, or even if it's simulated. The social part, they have to be interacting with others. The first game, we did it with interaction between players, but the problem was that we had deadlocks because one is faster than the other one, then they have to wait and so on. One has no idea what they have to do next, and then the experience is boring for the students. And with the chatbot, okay, it's not real social because there is nobody behind the chatbot, but they get the impression that, okay, I am in company, I get this message, like on Slack, like on every other thing that we have having. And last but not least, experiential. For me, it's the most important thing. They have to be able to experiment, to try, and then to get a feedback on what they did. And this feedback has always to be the same. So if I put 100 or 1,000 francs in marketing, I get some increase in my sales. I have to know that when I put again these 1,000 francs in marketing, I will get the same increase. So they can really learn how it works, how the market works, even if there's some limitation. When everybody makes marketing effectively, it's not that's important. But so they can really try and get the feedback. And there is nothing like a randomness in our game, so there is a big inflation, customers are all gone and so on, because they can't learn, they can't practice. So that's the main topic, that's the main point in our experience. It's experiential is very important for the students, so they can try, they learn, and they can apply it, and so they can improve over time. So it was quite fast. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So if you have a question, I don't know if you have time for question. No, we have 1 minute for 1.5 question. Otherwise, you can find us on the B6 booth with Camp to Camp, or you can reach us, or after that we can exchange card if you want. And there will be another talk
At 12.
at 12.
I don't know where. I have to check.
At 12, we present the scenario, the service scenario that we developed. And at 5, there is another talk when we present how we had to manage Odoo to be able to run days in 1 minute. So it was quite a challenge, technical challenge. So if you are also interested in that,
Yes.
you are welcome to join.
So if you want to see the next talk, it's at 12 in the Mezzanine 2000 place, where I'll be speaking with Luc Maurer of Camp to Camp about our next game universe. And you can try the game on play.aroolla.com. You can try one of our games. Thank you.
Thank you.